So, let's talk about this really powerful book. It's basically one long conversation between a young man who's completely fed up with his life and a wise old philosopher. The young guy feels like his life is this tangled, complicated mess, but the philosopher hits him with this incredible claim: life is actually simple. Okay, that's a bold statement. Let's dive in and see what he means. Right off the bat, the philosopher says most of us who are unhappy are stuck in one of three patterns. So as I go through these, I want you to be really honest with yourself. Does one of these sound a little too familiar? All right, first step, you've got the wanderer. You know this person, maybe you are this person. You've got all this energy, this drive, but you have no idea where to point it. So you just drift. Next, there's the dissatisfied. Now you're on a path, you have the job, the relationship, whatever, but it just feels wrong. It brings you zero joy. And there's this little voice in your head constantly asking, is this it? And finally, we have the blamer. You know exactly what you want to do, but there's always a but, isn't there? Not enough time, not enough money, not the right connections. You're basically waiting for the universe to give you a green light that never comes. Okay, now here is where the whole conversation just gets flipped on its head. The young man, like most of us, blames his past for all his problems. But the philosopher introduces this radical idea from something called Adlerian psychology. And the big takeaway is this: trauma, in the way they usually think about it, doesn't really exist. Your past does not get to decide your future. This slide really breaks down the two completely different ways to see your life. On one side, you have what most of us are taught, which is called etiology. Think Freud. It's the idea that your past causes your present. You are who you are because of what happened to you. But on the other side, you've got this idea of teleology from Adler, and it says the exact opposite. You aren't being pushed by your past, you're being pulled by your future goals. Everything you do today is to get you somewhere tomorrow. And this quote just nails it. The actual events in your past, they're not the problem. The problem is the story you tell yourself about those events. It's the meaning you assign to them that's holding you back. Let me show you what I mean with a quick story. So meet Mike. He's ambitious, he starts a business, it fails. He tries another one, that fails too. After a year of this, he comes across that statistic that says 90% of businesses fail. And for him, that's it. That's the proof. He takes his past failures, turns them into this personal trauma, and decides, I guess I'm just not one of the 10%. So he quits. His past just became a brick wall. Now meet Paul. His first year looks exactly like Mike's. Same struggles, same failures, same everything. But Paul just keeps going. 5 years later, after a bunch more failures and a few wins, he's a multimillionaire. When he sees that same statistic, he just laughs and thinks, wow, good thing I didn't stop after year one. See the difference? For Paul, the past wasn't a stop sign. It was the curriculum. His goal pulled him forward. So if our past isn't the real prison, what is? Well, the philosopher argues it's our relationships, our constant entanglement with other people. And this brings us to the second huge revelation: learning to ask one simple question: whose task is it? This is the key to untangling your entire life. Just think for a second how much of your daily stress comes from worrying about things you can't control, like what other people think of you, or if they'll like your work, or if they'll take your advice. Separation of tasks is about drawing a really clear line in the sand. It's about figuring out what is your job and what is someone else's. And once you do that, you're free. This chart lays it out so clearly. Look at that left column. That's your stuff: your goals, your effort, your emotions, your growth. That's your entire universe of control. Now look at the right column. That's their stuff: how they feel, how they react, whether they approve or disapprove of you. Real freedom, real peace comes when you pour 100% of your energy into the left column and you learn to completely let go of the right. So when you put these two big ideas together, that your past doesn't define you and you should only worry about your own tasks, you end up at this really powerful and, yeah, kind of scary conclusion. This is the ultimate freedom that the philosopher is talking about. I mean, really think about it. If you actually start living for your own goals, focusing only on your own effort, and you stop trying to manage how other people feel about it, what's going to happen? I'll tell you what's going to happen. Some people are not going to like it. They won't approve. And that has to be okay. True freedom is breaking the addiction to being liked. And there it is. That's the heart of it all. This quote is everything. You cannot, I repeat, cannot be truly happy if you're living in fear of someone disapproving of your choices. They're two sides of the same coin. The courage it takes to be happy is the exact same courage it takes to be disliked. Okay, so this all sounds great, right? But it's a huge idea. How in the world do you actually do this? Well, the book doesn't just leave you hanging with philosophy. It actually gives you a practical 3-step game plan to get there.
All right, step 1, disappear. Now, this doesn't mean you pack a bag and move to the mountains. It means you mentally check out from the noise. Stop scrolling for validation. Stop asking for permission. Step 2, while you're gone, you master your tasks. This is your training montage. You go all in on your goals, on your learning, on becoming who you want to be. And then step 3, you reappear transformed. You come back to your life, but you're a different person. You're solid, you're focused, and you are truly, genuinely not bothered by other people's approval.
And that really brings us to the final and most important question. Just imagine for 1 second that you weren't afraid. You weren't afraid of being judged or misunderstood or even disliked for going after what you want. What would you do? What would you build? What could you actually achieve if you finally had the courage to be disliked? The answer to that? Well, that could change everything.